And hey, just for fun, if this video gets 100 likes, then you might see me again in another MOSER. Or someone else. Who knows?
Haha, it's most probably never gonna happen since there's no way 100 people to actually like this. No way 100 people to actually like this. Well, I was completely off, wasn't I? So, firstly, thank you all so much for 100 likes. This is insane for a video. Second off, I will have to make my promise and add someone to this episode. So...
Jesus, you couldn't have introduced me any slower.
Ugh, whatever, just introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Jordan from the most sensational channel, Jordan the One, and the creator of Non-Existent Living. I'm also the reason Ammo's video got 100 likes in the first place.
No, you're f***ing not.
Okay, so let's start with this month's MOSER. MOSER November. Okay, to start off, I thought a majority of the writing was so cringy. Like, what's the point of Marbly, Gluey, and Grapey playing Uno? It's pretty confusing, and it seems like it was added to extend the episode's length. I also think this one scene with Foldery trying to apologise is so bad. I'll admit, I've never watched the previous episodes, but I think Foldery's sudden change in mood was really not nicely done. It seems like she's trying to be nice just for people to like her. And I also dislike how Hamburger ended up forgiving Foldery during the elimination. It was such a generic apology. As for the challenge, rushed. Not much to say here. I very much like some of the effects, like Starry's match. Though I was sad to not see Ink Bottle fight, let alone see her anti-fall, even though she's my least favourite character.
I'm gonna have to agree here. This felt like an extreme waste of potential. The writing in this episode felt so weak and rather cringe in comparison to past episodes. For example, the anti-dimension could have been explored so much better in the hour and 15 minutes that was spared for the fights. Challenge was used almost the exact same way in Bodo. Ink Bottle and Foldery's developments were so rushed and felt rather unnecessary. Foldery suddenly became this person that needed people's forgiveness, and the apology was extremely overdramatic. With Ink Bottle, it's just weird how she acts vegan and comes with style. I didn't find it funny nor interesting because it felt forced with her development. As Jordan pointed out, the Uno part felt extremely unnecessary, and I really disliked that it came back in Gluey's fight with her anti. The dimension idea too, as I said, it could have been explored way better, and it could have been an amazing plot, but it felt like such wasted potential. Unlike the last episode, I really laughed only from one joke, the T one. The rest fell flat or were cringe and out of place.
As for the graphics, I hate them. The backgrounds look rushed along with the assets. Though I do like some of the creative perspectives, like with Spoon and Foldery. And though I dislike the graphics, I like the animation. It's really well done for Google Slides. The voicing was eh. Tons of characters sounded the same, and the ones with different voices, like Grapey, didn't sound good. And finally, the aesthetic was pretty alright, I guess.
Well, I gotta say that I think the backgrounds are a thing to improve, but the creative perspectives do still kick in like past episodes. I really love that aspect of the show. The voice acting is rather strange. It feels like the same tone with different pitches, and it's pretty noticeable. I suggest again casting voice actors. Although I do gotta give credit because every contestant has a really big aspect of emotion. The animation is really impressive. I really can't believe this is made with Google Slides. Like that one part with Glowstick spun and slapped her anti, or simply creating walk cycles. It's really incredible. Gotta give it to the aesthetic, every scene had a correct tone to it. So, to sum up, I'd give writing 1.5 points, voice acting 3.5 points, animation gets 5 points, design gets 4, and aesthetic gets 5. Jordan?
I'd give writing 1.5 points, voicing 3 points, animation 4.5 points, design 1 point, and aesthetic gets 4 points. For an overall score of 14 out of 25. Yeah, I didn't like the episode.
And to me, it'll be 19 out of 25 points. I really do believe SFTF could get better, and I can't wait for the next episode to see if it will happen. So now, on to the second review.
Okay, this is the first episode I'm watching from the show, but I'll be honest, the episode is really bad. It's the most generic BFB clone I've ever seen, and I just downright didn't enjoy it. None of the characters are memorable, and the whole episode is rushed. I didn't laugh at any of the jokes, and nothing about anything stood out to me. And the two hosts are literally copies of BFB, numbers which look exactly like 4 and X. The voicing was rather bad, along with the graphics. The animation was eh. it was pretty bad, but at least it was kinda consistent, which isn't very common in hand-drawn shows, so props for that. And as for the aesthetic, it was bad.
Okay, so from someone who did not see the past episodes, and this is my first introduction to the show, I gotta say, I didn't like it. The writing was extremely lazy and rushed. It felt like nothing creative or different happened in the episode. The challenge was used before, and was used the same way here. The contestants are extremely boring, and the personalities they have are only stereotypes with no development at all. Either the conversation drops short, or the conversation is long and exaggerated. The elimination was so f***ing lazy, quick, and I barely got to understand what's going on.
Another thing, I wasn't able to tell if the show is a joke show or not, which is a bad thing, because I wasn't sure if the writing was intentionally bad, or if the writer is just a bad writer who doesn't think through ideas.
I hope it's a joke show, honestly. The voice acting was bad. 90% of the characters have the same voice and with no emotion too. That is another factor of why I think it's a joke show. The animation was rather okay. There were just a lot of weird scenes, and there were definitely some that stood out in style. Design is really not done well. A lot of the assets looked really rushed and little to no effort. Backgrounds weren't exactly good either. Same stuff reused and no creative perspectives in the backgrounds. The aesthetic was rather bad. I didn't know what to feel or understand from each scene, and because the music didn't really fit most of the time.
So, for a score, I give writing 1 point, voice acting 1.5 points, animation 3 points, design 1.5 points, and aesthetic 2 points, making it 9 points. Ammo?
I'd give writing half a point, voice acting gets 1 point, animation gets 2, design gets 2.5, and aesthetic gets 2, making it 8 out of 25 for me. Now, to the last review.
Well, I'll start off by giving huge props to Endless for making a pretty good first episode of a pretty decent show. But enough about him, let's talk about the episode, as oh boy, do I have some stuff to say about it. The writing was okay-ish. It was all pretty darn cringy, especially Glitter. I hate how she says words like Gucci and lit. Even if it's part of her personality, it's still really weird. And I don't like how Galaxy Bottle brought up Reddit, which was pretty cringy. As for the rest, it was so boring. Nothing interesting happened and the introductions just dragged. The walking to the cabin scene could have been such a good way to have characters interact with each other, which I guess was kind of done, just not very well. And my last complaint about the writing is the screen time between characters. Barber Pole, for example, got 1 line, while Film Frame got tons more. I also hate how the females got a whole lot more focus than the males in the cabins. We learned jack shit about the males there, but learned so much more about the girls and their plan. What are your thoughts on the writing, Ammo?
Before that, I do want to say I'm extremely proud of Endless for releasing this. It's been really rough for him, and I'm so glad it's finally out. Now, I gotta say, I do see why and how it went boring. The episode was like 24 minutes long, when half the episode was spent on introductions that just wasn't really good. As Jordan pointed out, the screen time between contestants is extremely unfair. I feel like the first episode should have equal screen time so we can get to know what contestants are actually like, and not one-liners at a party that wasn't even fully shown. Jordan, can you give some thoughts on voice acting? I can't really comment on that because I am one of the voice actors.
Alright, I thought the voicing was actually pretty darn good. I think Snowglobe's voice is pretty bad. You could tell the voice was altered, which wasn't handled well. Saltwater's voice was bad, didn't suit the role at all.
I do want to say though, to rather give a reason why we may sound bad, we recorded lines back in May, when most of us didn't have a lot of experience with our roles. So I do get your criticism though.
Shut up and let me continue, boomer! That isn't the most valid excuse, as people could easily be asked to redo lines. But anyway, a vast amount of voices were great. I like Galaxy Bottle's voice, Milkshake's voice, and Emerald Play Button's voice a lot. Though, a problem I have with GB's voicing is how some sentences and words are dragged out for some reason. Like when she says, 2 scenes ago?
Well, for the animatic, I do gotta say I didn't quite like it. There were a lot of different scenes that were different than others and not to proportions, and it's extremely noticeable and distracting.
I disagree. I'd say the animatic was really good, but I do see where you are coming from with the inconsistent scenes. Though I consider that as the posing's fault rather than the animatics, as the overall animatic looked good. It's just the posing in some scenes. Andrew scene. And as for design, I thought a lot of the assets were really good. I didn't like GB's asset much, and I don't like solar panels, but that's for me because I designed the asset, so The backgrounds in the studio were bad. They were just two rectangles put over each other for the whole introduction scene. But I really liked the landscape backgrounds. As for the aesthetic, it was alright. Not much to say here. What do you think, Hamo?
I think the design of the assets was incredible. It was really detailed and you can see all the effort into it. The background is rather blank, at least in the introductions it was. The aesthetic was pretty okay, but what in the ever-loving fuck happened to the audio? It sounded like I'm listening from the headphones that are connected to the fucking microwave. It definitely wasn't like that before, and something messed up during the recording.
Bonus point, I think Mouthwash is amazing, because I voiced and designed him.
I fucking hate you. So to sum up, I give writing 3 points, voice acting gets 4.5, animatic gets 3.5, design gets 4.5, and the aesthetic gets 2.5, making a total of 18 out of 25 points. How about you, sensational Jordan?
Thanks for pushing my ego through the roofs. Anyway, I'd give writing 2 points, voice acting 4 points, animatic 3 points, design 4 points, and aesthetic 3 points, making my score a 16. Now let's end this bit.
Well, this was a rather short episode, but hey, I think a short episode is preferred over no episode. This month was really dry in episode releases.
Okay, so this was boring to talk about.
Yawn!
I can't believe you pulled me out to do this. Can I go home now? Ruby looking ass?
I don't know, can you?
Okay, you asked for it. If this episode of MOSER gets 1 like, then I'll shoot Ammo in the head.
If this episode gets 101 likes, I will kill myself before Jordan can even hurt me. Wait, that's not the line.
Good job, moron. And this is why you should stay in school.
So for real now, thanks a ton for the sensational Jordy Stan to co-hosting this episode. You most probably are familiar with his object show, which I already reviewed here last time. It's really epic. And if you're not subscribed to him, then kill yourself.
I appreciate the fact that you care enough about my existence to give me a shout out. But really, you should have like 10 times the amount of subs you have now. So really, go and subscribe to Ammo if you haven't already. BFTD is a really good and underrated show, so definitely check it out.
And I hope to see you all in December.
Okay.